Hi guys, Donna McElvaney here, and today we are doing planned pulling with zebra. I've already messed with it some. I was helping a lady with it one-on-one, working on it, so I decided to go ahead and do a YouTube video with this one. I already know too exactly how many stitches I'm getting with zebra. It has somewhat of a short sequence. It's a nice easy sequence to do. It has black that has some dark gray before and after the black, and then it has a section of white, and this white section has a light gray or silver before and after it, and then it goes back into the dark gray, the black, the dark gray, the light gray, the white, and the light gray. With zebra, with this one also, it doesn't matter which way that you pull it. If you pull it from the inside or if you pull it from the outside, the pattern is always going to be the same. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to start chaining. On the label, it suggests using an H hook, which I did when I was working with it one-on-one, and I somehow have lost both of my H hooks, which is just a travesty. So right now I'm using an I hook. And actually, I kind of tried with the eye hook with what I had already done before I frogged it. Before I frogged it out, I did some stitches with the eye hook, and they actually came out to be the same, and it actually kind of worked a little bit better. So generally, I like to try to stick with what's on the label. So you can try it with what's on the label or use what hook that you're comfortable with. Generally, the label works pretty well. I probably could have gotten tighter stitches with that one, with the H hook, but with the I hook, it goes just fine. Okay, so I'm just air crocheting along and not really even thinking or talking. I'm talking too much. Alright, so I tend to do that in my videos. Alright, we're going to begin. This is where I'm going to begin with it. I'm going to begin the beginning of the sequence starting with a white, just because it just kind of makes it easier. There's a definite change between the silver into the white, and then it goes to the silver again, and then there's dark gray, and then black, and then dark gray. Alright, and here's silver. So what we do whenever we begin to pull is we get to our starting color, which is white, and we want white on the hook. Alright, we're going to go fourth one from the hook, counting this one. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to begin doing the moss stitch across, which is a single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet. You want to count how many stitches you have per color, and you want to keep that consistent, pretty consistent throughout your project, so that it comes out nice and neat in an argyle pull pattern. Okay. Alright, and then we go into the silver. So I know that I have 4 stitches of the white, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You don't want muddy legs. Muddy legs is a mixed color. Sometimes I'll turn it around and look at the back. You'll see me do that frequently as I'm pulling, because I want to make sure that the front of it is nice and solid. It's not mixed color, the gray's not blending into it, but I tend to look at the back too to make sure that the back's not muddy either. Alright, going into the silver, skip 1 there. Some people go around their starting chain, and then later they pull it out and makes a really nice finished product at the end. It's almost like a knitting type of finish, and that's really pretty. Let's see, I know that I want to get 2 stitches. Here I've got some left over, and if I crochet, it's going to make it muddy. I'll show you. I'm sure you'll see a muddy stitch of mine. So see how that's definitely a split one. That one's the silver and that one's definitely the dark gray. So I'm going to pull back. I'm going to loosen these up because I want it to be 2 stitches. I could tighten it up to make it 3 stitches, but I know consistently throughout, because I've already worked with this piece, that I'm going to have 2. You may have a different count with your die lot. Each die lot can be different, but different die lots can also be very similar. I've had to mix die lots before, and that's a scary, scary thing. I don't like mixing die lots because you really can't be sure what's going to happen, what you're going to get, and it's frightening. So I've gotten pretty lucky with some of mine, and I've had others that have been the same die lot, and they've just been horrible. Whenever I did antique, I had an awful, awful time whenever I was making an Afghan with it. I had the same die lot, and it was all over the place. It was awful. It came through really nicely though. It worked out really, really nice. I was kind of surprised. Alright, so I'm going to show you this black section here as I'm coming out of it. Very nice. I've got the light gray or the silver right there. So here I've got 2 dark gray. 1, 2. I was supposed to have 3 black, and I had 2 black. And I have 2 dark gray. Okay, I'm going to go with that throughout. On my smaller hook, I had 2, and then I had 3 black and 2. So I'm going to go with this and see how this comes out. We can also count this section as 1. It's just 1 black section. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches of the black. It does make it easier if you think of it that way. 6 black stitches. Alright, we're going to go on. This silver doesn't necessarily have to be the same as the other silver, because the other silver goes after the white, and this one comes before the white. They don't necessarily have to be the same. I like them the same because it just makes it easier throughout the project. Okay, so here we are. I've got white on my hook, just like in the beginning. So now we're fixing to start the second sequence. We're fixing to start another sequence. Alright, so we're fixing to turn and do the next row. You want your first stitch to be white on this row. But in order to make it offset, we have to remove a stitch. Okay? We chain up 2. There's 1, and there's 2. And then we turn. I'm still in the silver though. I'm still in the gray. My first stitch is going to be gray because my white doesn't start until all the way over here. So sometimes that doesn't happen and I can just go ahead and stitch. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this one out, and I need to eat up some more of this yarn. So on this long tail side, this is where you have to remove a stitch and kind of eat up some yarn to make it work. I make this into a modified, what I call a modified puff stitch. Alright, so I've got all 3 loops on the hook, and I pull this one through all of them, and then I chain up 2. And now, the color differences may be hard to see because this silver light gray is so close to the white, but I do have white on my hook, and we are going to start with white as our first stitch. And that's where we want it to be because we have white as our first stitch over here. It's the first color of our sequence. We have 4 white, the section of 6 black, and then we have 2 gray. 1 gray stitch, and the other one was 8 up in the chain. Alright, so we have 2 gray, but only 1 on this end. This one here counts as a turning, as your stitch counts in the turning chain when it's the long tail side. The other side it doesn't. I'll show you when we get there. Alright, so we're going to continue on with the 4 white stitches. 1, and it is a game of adjusting tension all the way throughout to make sure that you get the correct number of count. Alright, that was 4, and now I'm into the silver. I'm going to do 2 silvers. 1 and 2, just like I did on the first row. I did 4 white, 2 silver, and then I did 6 of these black ones. 1, 2 of the dark gray, 2 of the black. With my edge hook, I did 3 of the black. All right, and then 2 of the dark gray for a total of 6. And you can also just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, perfect. Came out to the silver again. And the silver has 2 stitches, 1 and 2. Now, remember on the first one, we had to stop and we had to turn after we took out the second stitch and we used it as a turning chain. But on this end, without the long tail side, that stitch has to land. So these are our legs. All our legs have to land on this side. Chain 2, 2 silver stitches, and nope. If I do 2, then I'm going to be stacking. If I put a white one in here, I've got a white one in here because this is our third row. So in our third row, it should already be offset by 1. So I've already made a mistake. All right, let's see here what I've done. Okay, I want it to be a mirror image. Okay, first stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the 2 silver. All right, so I know I've already messed up. Here's a white one, and our white one actually needs to start here. Our white one is not supposed to start here. For some reason, my white one is starting here. Okay, so I went across, and it has to do in my turn. I know it has to do in my turn because it always messes up in the turn. Unless I've miscounted somewhere. Sometimes that happens. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 silver. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. I do have 3 black. Why was I saying that I didn't have 3 black? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See there? I done miscounted. I'm not even going to go back and edit the video. I'm going to leave it just like it is. Alright, so I did get 7 black. I don't know how I miscounted that one, but I sure did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They were so dark I just didn't see it, I guess. Alright, 1, 2. So whenever you have an error and a mess up, go back, count, see where you did wrong. 1, 2. I want to make these tighter just to make sure that I do get all 7 stitches. 3 of the black, and then 2 of the gray, of the dark gray. 1 and 2. And then I get 1 silver one right here. My turn and chain, just 2, and then I have a silver one that needs to go right here because my first white stitch needs to go here. This is row 3. In row 3, you're going to see your pattern forming. Okay, so here we are, and I've got 4 white ones. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You stop and look and see. Alright, white is here and white lands here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Always whenever you come out of your turn, always stop and look and see if you're going to land correctly. 2 silver, my first silver goes here and second one here. So it's up 1 and over 1. And that's perfect. That's exactly where it needs to be. 1 silver, 2 silver. Alright, and I have 7 black ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, this side is the long tail side. So in this side, your turn-in chain actually counts as one of your stitches. So I already know I'm gonna have extra in the silver. Sometimes you actually won't have extra and you won't have to do a modified stitch here. But I already know working with this yarn, I'm gonna have to do a modified. I haven't really explained that. All right, so you pull through like you're gonna do a single crochet and you yarn over, and instead of pulling it through these two, you're gonna go back through the loop again, pull it up again. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 4 of those, and 2. So that was 1, and the turn-in chain is 2. Stitches there, and so this was your first silver stitch, and this is your second silver stitch. Coming out of a turn, you stop and you look, and I've got 4 white ones, just like I had on the other side. They are a mirror image of each other, and my first white one needs to start here, and it is 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you make a mistake, go back, check your numbers. If you've done your turns correctly, you could have miscounted somewhere. It could be that, especially in the beginning, just like I did. Alright, so I've got it. The very first dark gray one is here, so my first one needs to be here, and that's where it's supposed to be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. One and 2. But this does not count as a stitch, so I still need to land both of my silvers here, and I have a silver to go here and here. This one is white, which is perfect because I need my first white stitch to land right here because it's got to start shifting and going this way. Silver, silver, and silver. So whenever you go to turn, stop and look. 1 and 2. Very good. And 4 white ones. 2, 3. And I'm already going into silver. That's already silver. I only have 3 white ones, so I'm going to have to pull back and tighten up. Alright, 1, 2, 3. I need to tighten up some more. Here is where I really wish I had my H hook, because I could switch down to my H hook to make them smaller, to make them fit better. I do have my G hook. 1, 2, and oh my lord, I'm getting the hiccups. 3, 4. Very good. Okay. And now 2 silver. So my first silver is going to start here. 1 and 2. Alright, good. Hiccups went away. Seven of the black section. And here we are on the long tail side. I'm going to do a modified. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So all 7 black ones are used up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now we're going to have 2 silver, 1 and 2, and that's where it needs to be, because white needs to start right here. All right. 1 and 2. I think that'll work. All right, 4 white ones. 1, 2, 3, and 4. A little bit. I'm gonna go with it. I think it's gonna be okay. Tighten it up a little bit to pull some of that silver out of it. I'm gonna go with it. All right, 2 silver. 1 and 2. 7 gray. 1, 2, 7 black. 3, sorry. 4, 5, 6. Number 7 has to go here. Number 7. On the other side, number 7 was 8 up in the turning chain. But here, all your stitches, all your legs have to land. So number 7 had to land here. And because silver goes here and here, 1 and 2. All right, if I had silver land here and here, then it would start stacking. 1 and 2 silver and then 4 white. So if your project starts to stack, go back and look at your turns, look at your corners, because a lot of times that happens, especially whenever it starts running like this, whenever the longer sections start getting mixed up in the turns. Whenever you come out of your turn, always make sure that your colors are going to land in the right space before you continue, because if you don't, you can very easily make an error in it and start stacking, or not stacking but actually having them move up and over by 2 instead of only by 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Let's fix that a little bit. It had a little pull in it. Okay. 2. 1 and 2. I'm gonna have to loosen it up a little bit because the silver was gonna be muddy. I like doing zebra. It's a nice short sequence and it goes fairly easily. It's a nice easy one to do as long as you get your turns right and your count on your first couple of rows. Your first 2 rows are imperative that you count it correctly. Your second row has to be a mirror image of your first row in order for it to pull correctly. All right, long tail side. So I'm gonna modify. In some of my other videos that has a really long sequence, I don't count. I do a mirror image of the 2 rows, and then I just go by looking at it, by stopping, looking, seeing where I'm at. Okay, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 white. I have 2 silver, so I need 2 silver. So like that. I didn't count my black. All I did there was stop and look at it. All right, and I know I'm correct. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 starts right there. As you can see, it's going correctly. These are the silver and these are the white. 2, 3, 4, and then on in 2 silvers 1 and 2. All right, and then I'm not going to count these. I'm just going to crochet along and come out of the corner. I know this is not the tail side, so I don't have to do any type of modifying here. I just turn it and keep going with my black and see where I am here. Okay, now silver and silver, and that's correct because this is silver and silver. All right, so I know that I got my black correct. I hate it when I do that. At least it's going to be covered. All right, and white goes right into that one. Perfect. And go on across. 1, 2. Oh, is that 3? Nope, that was 4. Good. 2 silver. All right, and here we are with black again. And I'm not counting, I'm just doing it. I am doing a modified because that's what I've done on all of these. And it really makes for a nice edging on this too. Even if you're putting in a border on a border, because when I put a border on it, I go my border here, and I do a moss stitch on my border, and I moss stitched here, I chain one here right at the bottom of the V. So it makes it really neat. All right, so not counting, just going on position. I stop and I look. Silver is here, so I want my first silver to be here, and that's perfect, that's where I want it to be. And we're starting to cross over as well. We're getting into a couple of silvers here. And then we're going to get to crossing over with the white. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Whenever you cross over in the middle, whenever they start to cross over in the middle, that can be a little bit confusing too, and pulling off more yarn. That can be a little worrisome because you might be like, oh man, I don't know where I'm going. Look to the outer edges. So whenever you have a big section like that, you want your numbers right, and look at your outer edges. So here's my 2 silver ones. So I want a silver here and a silver here. And that's right, that's correct where I am. So I know that I'm right. I'm correct on my number count and placement. All right, black over here on the edge, I'm not counting. I'm just gonna crochet it. 1, 2, 3. Oh, and there I am counting it. Yeah, that's funny. That's a habit. This is my non-tail side. I do know that all my legs have to land, but I also know that whenever I come out of the turn, I just look at placement and see. Okay, perfect. Silver one starts here. And then I'm crossing over with the white. All right, so we got a big old blob section of white. I love how this V's out like this. It's really cool. All right, so I know that I have 4 white ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's really hard to tell if your white is lining up correctly because there's so much white right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I look at my outer edges. So I have to go down to this row. All right, and I see the silver. It goes right here. 1 and 2. I hope this helps you to get your technique down, learning the technique how to do it. And if you have any questions or comments, you can leave on the video itself, or you can find me on Facebook, Donna McElvaney, and I I do help people quite a bit when they're having a hard time and they're struggling with pulling. It can be so frustrating. It was very frustrating for me until I realized exactly where I was going wrong with it. I just got a little section here, so I stop and I look to see. And I need a black one here. I can't have this one be silver, so I need to tighten up. So whenever you want to do it so badly because it's so cool how it turns out and you want it to work, and I know how frustrating that can be. I struggled with it for over a month, and then once I got it, I realized where people are struggling at, and it's in the turns. And 2. All right, and then we're gonna continue to cross over more. Okay guys, I hope that really helps you. Remember this side here, you got to eat up a stitch, and on this side here, all your legs have to land. And that is zebra. Thanks, God bless.